Okay, assuming you're on, Adrian, just give me a little text to make sure that, I know maybe Kelly will be here today, I'm not sure. We will talk about core, and we're going to start with something I haven't taught you yet. So this could be a game changer in the solar plexus area. So as soon as I can see that you verify that you can see me, then I don't want to start if you can't hear me. Make sure everything's good. Let's just do some breathing here. Challenging my balance here. Okay, good. I can see that Adrian can see me. So I want to teach you, I should have looked it up. It has a name, and I can't quite remember what it is. So afterwards I will send you some other videos that you can refer to and try this. So first we're going to start in a standing position. Get here where you can see me. And do just some little cat and cow. So bending your knees, kind of leaning over. The hands, the thumbs are not inside. The fingers are on the inside. So it opens and makes this round shape with your shoulders. And you kind of push against the lower thighs, I don't know, mid thighs between the knee and the hip. And then just try a little cat and cow there. So the hands might come down closer to the knees, and you're creating a big cat back here. And just hold that cat back, round circle. And inhale, bring the tailbone up and the head up and create the cow pose. And once again, the cat pose. I don't know, I feel like I need a forward fold, so I'm coming forward and just wiggling things out. You can kind of do cat and cow from that forward position also. And coming back up, we're going to do a kind of breath that I have to explain and then do it, because there is a retention breath. There's no way to talk during a retention breath. So I will explain it and then I will demonstrate it more. So leaning forward with the fingers towards the middle, the thumb is kind of coming up the thigh, just like we were doing. You're going to exhale all of the air, and then you inhale and you create a suction that kind of comes up underneath the ribs. So apparently children do this. I know my son Travis, when I first showed him this, he's like, "You mean like this?" And I'm like, "Oh, how do you do that?" And he loves to show off that he can do this way better than me. So you may already know how to do this naturally and not realize it. So it kind of sucks through almost a vacuum up underneath the solar plexus, and you're engaging Mula Bandha, which is low. You're engaging Uddiyana Bandha. This is like the ultimate Uddiyana Bandha, which means flying upward. And so the whole thing kind of, your intestines, everything kind of flies upward underneath the rib cage, but you create a bandha or a lock up here in the throat area, in the, think of the trachea maybe. So again, can't really explain this. I will send you some videos where there are men or women who have very little clothes on, where you can actually see their body if this is confusing. So here we go. Exhale all of your air. Inhale again. Then exhale and try to suck that up. So hold the breath out and then exhale. So try it again. Inhale. Exhale all of the air. Suck in. And release. So we're going to do that a third time. Just stand up and let it kind of loosen up a little bit, and try it again. Bending over, fingers towards the center, and you can kind of bring your shoulders down, or they might come up a little bit on this. So inhale, exhale all of your air, and then suck that in. And exhale. Inhale and stand up. So Adrian, I just want a little bit of feedback. Let me know if you can feel that. And I'll tell you a story while you do that. When I had one of my very first yoga teachers, before I knew any Ashtanga, he showed me this video, how yoga works. And maybe you've seen it. I think I forwarded it to you. And there's this really strange part where this yogi, his belly is doing this weird thing. That's what we're actually learning. And I remember almost being grossed out by it, and said something to my teacher like, "Okay, tongue, what is that? What is he doing?" And I don't know, the name for it is not coming to me right now, but he just laughed and explained to me what that was. So it really is, it massages the internal organs when you can get really good at this. So there's that inhale, the sucking in, and then you begin to flex and release the lower belly muscles until you can one day engage one side, release the other, engage the other side, and it's back and forth. So I'll send you that video and look for some instructions so that you can work on this some more. But this is a very powerful core exercise. It also releases a ton of emotion. So I remember when I learned Ashtanga with my teacher, I just remember her teaching me this. And I started doing it pretty regularly, and it like cleansed so much emotion. There was just a lot of tears and stuff. So that's really normal. It really gets deep into some old stuff if you do this several days in a row or over time. So if you feel lots of emotion come up, just know that that is part of this. So we're going to do this right now. All right, so I'm just assuming, Adrian, that you're getting this and I'm just mostly talking instead. So let's do that one more time, but this time I want you to sit down on your mat in just a comfortable cross-legged position. And we're going to do the same thing, except in the seated position, the hands on the knees, and just exhale all of the air. Inhale. Exhale again, kind of lean forward. As you exhale, try to do that sucking motion. And release. Let's do that again. Inhale. And exhale all of the air, and then suck that in. And release. One more time. Exhale. Inhale first, then exhale all of the air. And release. This is also part of some pranayama. Maybe I'll teach that today. I think we probably need to go on to some of our poses now. Or maybe Adrian or Kelly, if you're on here, or whoever might be watching, we could do some pranayama one-on-one so that I can explain it better. Feedback is really helpful when I'm doing that. So let's go ahead, come forward, just go into a downward facing dog and a little bit of warm up from that position, and then we'll start some sun salutes. Just feel the down dog on your body. Now in the downward facing dog, see if you can get just a tiny bit of that sucking in thing. It's not as extreme, but it's kind of a shape of the body, and it's when your tail is higher, your shoulders are doing their thing, cueing your shoulders, but maybe pushing the hands away, and then you might find that slight sucking in feeling in the solar plexus. I don't know if you can feel that. Again, this live stream can be very difficult because if I don't have feedback, I don't know whether to try to explain it in another way or if you're getting it. So with that little bit of warm up, wiggle a little bit, and then bring the feet forward, and we will start doing some sun salutes. And I will be cueing, lifting. I think especially when you're stepping forward and back on the sun salute B, that is a good time to feel this lifting up feeling as you step forward and lifting up when you step back. That's Uddiyana Bandha, but you're kind of focusing on it more. You might also consider, so the most important part to me, part A of Uddiyana Bandha, is that feeling of things from the waist down going towards the ground, things from the waist up going towards the ceiling. That is your bandha. That is the main thing to focus on until that becomes more and more natural. So bringing your hands together in Anjali Mudra, finding that Uddiyana Bandha by grounding the feet, lifting the crown of the head. When you're doing this, you may feel a narrowing around the waist from that extra length. Close the eyes, breathe. And let's do 3 ohms this morning. Exhaling all of the air, then inhaling for Om. look up. Chaturanga, step back. Think of that lift even through this series of chaturanga. Inhale up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Banja. No shot. Breathing. Bringing the elbows towards each other. Upper bones of the arms are rotating away from the ears. Thumb and first finger emphasized on the lower arm. And 5. Inhale, bring the feet forward, gaze forward. Exhale, head down, gaze at the nose. Inhale, stand, gaze at the thumbs. Exhale, Samasthiti. Again, inhale, look at the thumbs. Exhale, head down. Inhale, shoulders wide as you look up, keep the gaze up, elbows in as you go down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 5 breaths. Cueing your arms again. Lifting at the tailbone while the heels stay or go down. This creates that space of Uddiyana Bandha, or the scooping out of the belly. Do you feel that? You may not, it's okay. Last breath. And inhale, come forward, look forward. Exhale to head down there. Inhale, stand, look at the thumbs. Exhale, Samasthiti. Again, inhale. Exhale. Lift as you go down. Lift at the waist. Inhale, look up. Exhale, step back. Keep that lifting towards the ceiling in the waist area. Inhale. And exhale, lift the waist as you go into downward facing dog. So I think of the back of Uddiyana Bandha when I'm talking about lift. So a similar lift here, but the lift to me right here comes a little lower towards the tail. Rotating the upper arm bones, thumb and first finger. And 5, inhale, come forward. Exhale to head down. Inhale, up. Thumbs. Exhale, Samasthiti. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Keep that lift as you go down. Inhale, look up. The shoulders widen. And chaturanga. Inhale. Exhale, lift at the waist. Lift at the tail. Last breath. Inhale, lift as you come forward. Almost like you're creating a rainbow. Exhale to head down. Inhale, thumbs up, eyes up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Bending the knees this time. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, up. Exhale, step back. Chaturanga, keeping that lift. Eyes forward. Inhale. Exhale, now lift as you go into your downward facing dog, and then step forward with the right, lifting at the waist as you step forward. Inhale, come up. Exhale, lift come down. I'm going in slow motion, this might be kind of hard. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. So before I go into downward facing dog, I'm lifting at my waist, then straightening my legs. Now lifting at the waist again, then come forward with the foot. Inhale, bring the thumbs up. Exhale, thumbs down. Now lift again here as you step back at the waist. So it's like the waist is lifting the legs. Now again, as you go into downward facing dog, it's like a little cat back before I go up. Now our 5 breaths. So that was a little slow to think through that lifting sensation as you're moving through those motions. So if you think of yourself as a rainbow, and the top of the rainbow is kind of between the tailbone and the waist somehow, it changes slightly from pose to pose or from transition to transition. One other way that some will cue this is tuck your ribs. And 5, inhale, come forward, rainbow up as you lift and bring your feet forward. Exhale the head down. Even here, there's that rainbow lift. Inhale, bend the knees as you come up. Exhale, Samastitihi. Once again, bend the knees. And exhale, lifting the rainbow. Exhale the head down. Inhale, lift up. So lifting in the middle and then stepping back, keeping that baby cat back. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, lift at that mid-center. Now keeping that rainbow lift, bring the leg forward. Up. Exhale the hands down, back to that rainbow feeling. Guess I'm into rainbows today. So lifting again from that spot, as you come forward, really lift the top of the rainbow. Lifting again here as you move through it. Lifting again as you go into the downward facing dog. The lift is always there, but there are spots where I'm moving where I can really focus on that lift. And 5, inhale, look forward, lift again as you bring the legs forward. So that lifting feels like it leaves room for the legs to move forward to me. And upward, Samastiti. Let's do one more. I'll talk less, see if you can remember or apply what we've been saying. That lifting. Every time we go down with our hands or head, we think extra lift. Every time we move, extra lift. Lifting as you come forward. Back to the rainbow. Lift as you step forward. Lifting again as you step back. And lifting again into downward facing dog. So it's kind of moving in that space between the waist and the tail. So even here, that rainbow feeling. Still lifting. Inhale, bend the knees as you come up. Samasthiti. Okay, let's explore Padangusthasana in that same feeling. So as I come forward with my ribs, I'm also lifting from the waist to the tail. So even in my forward fold, there's that feeling of lift. I've also called this baby cat back. We also talk about tucking the ribs. Those are all trying to cue the same things. So putting the hands on the hips, pushing the hips down and pulling up to get that first part of Uddiyana Bandha. Up over the clothesline, come on forward, keep that lifting going. So thinking about the rainbow or something, take the toes, inhale again, and then the head goes down, but the top of the rainbow keeps coming up the legs before it goes down the back. So try to make a higher arch of your rainbow. Maybe that's a way to think about it. Inhale, come halfway up, just straighten the arms, change the hand position. Now notice how this will make an even bigger lift and up and over. And again, try to lift at the top of the rainbow. Let the feet go solidly on top of the hands. Inhale, come our way up. Exhale, the hands to the waist. Then inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Here we go into Trikonasana. Stepping to the right. Inhale. Now, feel that upward motion before you go down. So there's kind of a sideways rainbow here. Try to feel length through the spine up to the back of the neck. Keep breathing. There may feel like a lift to the side, like that same space, the lower ribs down to the pelvis, a slight lift. That might be from pushing your feet into the ground. There's 5. Inhale, come up. Pivot to your second side. And 5, inhale, come up. Into the pivot and reverse. Now I'm going to take my hand down, and I'm going to focus on pushing my feet into the ground, which will rebound and create lift and straight in the spine. There's a twist with the right shoulder back, so you're trying to bring the right hip bone forward away from the twist. And 5, inhale, pivot to the second side. Focusing on the feet grounding and the twist. And 5, inhale, come up. Feet together, Samasthiti. Extended side angle, Parsva Konasana. You might be comfortable bringing your hand down to the mat or up on the thigh, either one. Whatever feels right for your body. It's not that one is better or worse than the other. Different bodies need different things. So pushing the feet into the ground. Again, bringing the chest towards the ceiling, extending the spine. Maybe bending bending the front knee a little further. And 5, inhale, come up, second side. So it's an exploration of your body in the pose. What does your body do as we go into the pose? And experiment. If I push my feet in, if I extend my arm, if I put my arm down, how does my core feel with all of that? Inhale, come up. Exhale, second side. I'm going to take the back knee down on this. I'm pushing my hands against my thighs. I'm going to try to get extra length and then twist. Last breath. 5, come on up, pivot, second side. Okay, again, pushing against my legs to try to get extra height and then twist. And 5, inhale forward, Samasthiti. Okay, wide leg forward fold, Prasarita, Padottanasana. So again, on this forward fold, thinking of that lifting before you come forward, and then keeping that lift going, thinking of the rainbow analogy, lifting the tail while the head goes forward, pushing the feet against the ground to create the grounding part of Uddiyana Bandha, or of the Bandha series. There may be a feeling of slight forward in the foot, or the head going closer to the ground because the weight is in the foot. When you go forward, it engages the bandha. The bandha is your brake from toppling over. And 5, come halfway up, exhale there, come all the way up, exhale the hands down, inhale, tee out the arms, exhale, bring the hands back to the waist or the ribs, really lift up out of the pelvis again before you come forward, trying to keep that lifting up out of the pelvis in this position, experimenting with what works. Maybe your hands push your hips away, but then the tail comes up, so there's length and lift. Last breath. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale the hands down. Inhale, tee out the arms, and then interlace the fingers behind the back, opening the chest. That lift up out of the pelvis again, then tipping forward. Again, trying to find that space between lift and forward. Last breath. Inhale, lead with your chest as you come up. Exhale the hands down, out. Inhale, again, bring the hands. I like to push down as I come up with the above the waist and then forward, taking the toes with the fingers. And this might be another one where you can think about that rainbow arc, like a tight rainbow.
feeling a forward in the foot because that engages the bandhas to keep you from falling all the way forward. And the last breath. Inhale, look up.
Straighten the arms, exhale there. Inhale, come all the way up, in meeting with the chest, and Samasthiti at the top of the mat. I'm just going to take my elbows today, really open the chest, stepping out part way into pyramid, Parsvakonasana. Same thing, lifting up out of the pelvis before coming forward, transferring sort of the emphasis to the tailbone lifting. There's a slight twist so that the navel is above the knee. Feet are steadily pushing into the ground. And 5. Inhale, lift, pivot, find that space again, lifting up out of the pelvis before coming down, transferring the lift as you get down there into that sense of the tailbone coming up. Last breath. And inhale, come up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Let's skip the rest of standing and go into our seated poses. Inhale, look up to the thumbs. Exhale, hands down, head down with that lift going. Inhale, look up, shoulders back. Exhale, lift the rainbow as you step back. Keeping that lift even through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, lift into that baby cat. Downward facing dog. And bring the feet forward into our seated position. So in the seated position, we're going to experiment again with trying to get that lift. Sometimes the rebound from the hands being on the ground can be where the lift comes from. Shooting energy out the heels, but not so much that the heels come off of the ground. Dandasana pose. More breaths. And 5. Inhale, look up. I'm going to raise up again, lift my ribs as I come forward, and lift them again before I even take my pose, and then begin the count. You may help to tuck the lower belly. And notice how that tuck is like the opposite of that tailbone, between the waist and the tailbone lift. But here we are oriented to the ground in another position. So your tailbone is going towards the back wall instead of the ceiling because of how we're oriented. And 5, inhale, look up and change your hand position. Lifting again, trying to bring the ribs a little further down, but at the same time, the energy shooting out the tailbone behind you. So here we are in that rainbow position again. And it's a pretty tight rainbow. Last breath. Inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose. Shake the legs just a little bit, and then bringing the hands behind, just open the shoulders. If you have plenty of energy today and you want to bring your hip bones up, go for Parsvo. This one is always a hard one. There's 3 poses that sound the same, and my Sanskrit gets mixed up. Purvottanasana, Purvo. And 5. Inhale, come down if you're up, and then come forward into vinyasa. So as I move through my vinyasa, I'm lifting that waist as I step back, just like we were doing in Sun Salute Bees. Bringing the legs forward again. Ardha Baddha Paschimottanasana. Lotus pose, when you are ready to do that, I don't know exactly where you are in your practice if your body is to this point, but eventually the heel comes towards the navel and then forward so that you know where you're headed. So if it doesn't come up very high and it doesn't come very forward, that's okay. But just knowing that that's where it's coming, and then the heel is tucked up into the hip crease here, then the hand can come back. That's when you get enough space to be able to take the bind, so that you know where you're going on that. Round 5, inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose. Let's lift in between, and then take the second side. So heel towards the navel, then across into the hip seam so that the knee is coming forward towards the other knee. This side is different for me, significantly different. And the last breath. Inhale, look up. Exhale, release the pose. Cross at the ankles, round the back. So look at this rainbow starting as we come forward, lifting at the top of the rainbow and then bringing the feet back. That's how you work on your core in your vinyasa. So even as you lift in your chaturanga, you want to lift from the rainbow as well as your upper body. All right, let me check the time. I've been doing a lot of talking, and sometimes I can run it into, okay, it's 1:45. So Adrian, you've got to be heading for closing. Let's just go to our short closing today. So Yoga Mudra, bringing the shoulder blades towards the spine as we tilt forward, keeping the shoulder blades back there, closing the eyes, looking at Shiva Drishti, which is between the kind of the eyebrow area, counting 8 or 10 breaths. We'll do 8 today. Last breath. Inhale, come up. Check and see if that's you, Adrian. We're going to be doing our 10 breaths. Okay. So even in this pose, think about the bandhas.
the low belly to move. So it's like the breath is running up and down the spine behind the belly button. And as you do that, lifting the upper body, grounding your tail, then that keeps the front of the body still. That's one way to be able to tell if you have engaged your bandhas during this pose. Let's call that 10. And just as a review, if we had time, we'd do more pranayama, but we started with that exercise of using Jalan Bandha to lift Uddiyana Bandha. If we were going to do pranayama, I'm just going to teach you the very first part. You can sit in this comfortable seated position, and the rhythm of the beginning of the first of primary pranayama is you take a few breaths and then you exhale all of the air, do the sucking in thing that I showed you at the beginning, hold that, and then you inhale at the end of that retention breath, exhale all of the way, do the sucking in, hold that, and then you inhale. You do it 3 times. So that's the beginning of primary pranayama, which I don't think I've taught you guys yet. So let's try that. So inhale 1 simple breath, exhale all of your air, engage Uddiyana Bandha, hold the breath. And then inhale, exhale all of the air, engage full Uddiyana Bandha, which is that sucking in feeling. So your Jalan Bandha holds that vacuum in. Then inhale again, exhale all of your air, create that suction, that vacuum, hold it. When you feel like you're at the end of that retention breath, then you inhale. And then today we'll just release that. I will continue to teach you more pranayama maybe the next time, or if we can get together. So let's come forward. Again, the rainbow, the cat back as you come forward. Lift back into your chaturanga position. Upward facing dog. Lift as you go into downward facing dog. And then bring your knees down into Shavasana and take rest. Let go of everything, all that you just learned. Trust that your body will remember. Don't allow it to go through your head at this time. Just release, relax. You've got a few minutes to let everything release from your body. All of the old energies that have been stirred up during your practice have an escape now. And allow yourself that rejuvenation before you begin your day. I'm going to give you my internal namaste as you rest. You know how to come out gently out of your Shavasana at the end. Know that I am thinking about you. I love all of my students, and even those that I may not know. I really appreciate what you do to bring this practice into your life. It makes the world a better place, and we need that so much today. So my eternal namaste to you. Namaste.